Hey everyone, welcome back. Tonight, we're diving into a tale that'll make you think twice before ordering room service ever again. This isn't just a ghost story, it's a nightmare served on a silver platter. So, dim the lights, get comfortable, and let's check into room 665, where the service is definitely not 5 star. The Grand Corvus Hotel. Even its name sounds like something out of a gothic novel, doesn't it? Nestle, or rather lurking, in the misty Blackwood forest. It's a place steeped in history, rumors, and more than its fair share of unsettling tales. The kind of place where shadows dance in the corners of your eyes and every creak sounds like a whispered secret. Our story centers on a man named Daniel, a seasoned business traveler, weary from weeks on the road. He checked into the Corvus late one October evening, the wind howling outside like a banshee. The hotel, with its ornate but faded grandeur, was eerily quiet. The receptionist, a woman with eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories, gave him a key to room 665 with a look Daniel couldn't quite decipher. Room 665 was underwhelming. The heavy drapes were drawn, casting the room in a perpetual twilight. A faint smell of dust and something vaguely floral hung in the air. Exhausted, Daniel tossed his briefcase onto the bed and decided to order some room service. He grabbed the menu, a tattered thing with yellow edges, and dialed the number. Room service. How may I help you? The voice on the other end was smooth, almost too smooth, like polished glass. Daniel ordered a steak, medium rare, with a side of mashed potatoes and a glass of red wine. Excellent choice, sir. It will be there shortly. The line went dead. He settled onto the edge of the bed, scrolling through his phone, trying to shake off the feeling that he was being watched. Maybe it was just the ambience of the old hotel getting to him. But the silence was heavy, punctuated only by the distant creaks and groans of the building settling. About 40 minutes later, a knock echoed through the room. Daniel opened the door to find a waiter standing there, his face obscured by the shadows of the hallway. He was impeccably dressed in a crisp, old-fashioned uniform, complete with white gloves. Your order, sir, the waiter said, his voice a low murmur. He wheeled in a silver trolley laden with Daniel's meal. The steak looked perfect, a rich, dark brown, and the aroma was intoxicating. Thank you, Daniel said. But the waiter was already retreating down the hallway, disappearing into the gloom without another word. Daniel sat down to eat, ravenous. The steak was cooked exactly as he'd requested, melting in his mouth with each bite. The wine was robust, warming him from the inside out. For a moment, he forgot about the strangeness of the hotel, lost in the simple pleasure of a good meal. But then, things started to shift. He noticed the mashed potatoes tasted off, earthy, almost like dirt. He shrugged it off, attributing it to an odd seasoning. But as he continued to eat, the taste intensified, becoming gritty and unpleasant. He glanced down at the potatoes and saw something that made his blood run cold. Mixed in with the mashed potatoes were small clumps of soil, and were those tiny bone fragments? Daniel recoiled, pushing the plate away. His appetite vanished. He stared at the remaining food, his mind racing. What was going on? He looked around the room, the shadows seeming to deepen, to press in on him. He could have sworn the temperature had dropped. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. A cold gust of wind swept through the room, rattling the windows. Daniel fumbled for his phone, his heart pounding in his chest. As he turned on the flashlight, he heard a sound, a faint scratching coming from inside the walls. The scratching grew louder, more insistent, accompanied by a low, guttural moan. It sounded like someone was trapped inside the walls, trying to claw their way out. Panic surged through Daniel. He stumbled backward, knocking over the wine glass. The red liquid spilled across the carpet, looking disturbingly like blood in the dim light. And then he saw it. Standing in the corner of the room, shrouded in shadows, was the waiter. But this time, he wasn't holding a silver trolley. His face was no longer obscured. It was a skeletal visage, the skin stretched tight over bone, his eyes hollow sockets burning with an unholy light. In his hand, he held a gleaming silver carving knife. "Dessert is served," the waiter rasped, his voice a chilling echo that seemed to vibrate through the very foundations of the hotel. Daniel didn't wait to find out what the dessert was. He bolted for the door, fumbling with the lock. He threw it open and sprinted down the hallway, not daring to look back. The hallway seemed to stretch on forever, the shadows twisting and writhing around him. He could hear the waiter's chilling laughter echoing behind him, getting closer and closer. He finally reached the lobby, breathless and terrified. The receptionist looked up, her eyes widening in alarm. "Room 665, Daniel gasped. "There's something, someone." The receptionist's face paled. "Sir," she said, her voice trembling, "room 665 has been out of service for years. No one has stayed in that room since the incident." "The incident?" Daniel asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Years ago," the receptionist said, "a guest murdered a waiter in that room, then took his own life. They say their spirits are trapped there, forever reenacting that final horrifying night." Daniel stared at her, his blood turning to ice. He knew, with chilling certainty, that he had just been served a meal by a ghost. Some say you can still hear the scratching in the walls of room 665, the faint clinking of silverware. And if you listen closely, you might even hear the waiter's chilling whisper, "Dessert is served." So what do you think? Would you dare to stay at the Grand Corvus Hotel? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the things that go bump in the night are just looking for a tip. If you enjoyed this spooky story, be sure to like and subscribe for more chilling tales and sweet dreams, if you can get any.